Everyone, what we're going to do today is make our own ink pens out of some twigs. So go gather a few twigs and you will need a knife or some sort of blade to cut them with. Let's do it. Hopefully you've gathered some sticks and a blade. You can use any sticks that you like. And it's just a matter of just sharpening to a point. That's all you need, just a point. I've done one on the other end. It's a bit fatter on that end, so I've got a two-sided ink stick there. This is one that I love to use all the time. This is off a mulberry tree, and here's one off a magnolia tree. Now, you don't actually have to sharpen them. You can just get yourself a sharp stick and dip in the ink and draw. So what I suggest you do is make a few ink sticks, get some ink, and just have a play on some scrap paper. Just get used to it, and then maybe try doing a treescape like I'm going to paint for you in the next video. Welcome back. For this project I've got an 8 inches by 8 inches piece of Canson watercolour paper. It's cold pressed and it's 300 GSM. I've taped it down because we're going to do a very wet background and then work into that once it's dry with some ink. So I'll just quickly do the background for you and then we'll let it dry, and I will come back and do a ink drawing on it for you. So I'm just going to use a water spray and give it a light spray. Now I'm going to pick up some cobalt turquoise. This is Daniel Smith colour. And we're just going to put that across the middle of the painting. Just very, very roughly. Don't worry too much about planning. We just want this to be very loose, and some strong bits and some weaker bits, making sure you do come to the edges, however, in those places that you need to. Now I'm going to pick up some, this is a yellow ochre, and mixed with this lovely blue you get some beautiful greens happening. Just coming down the edges. Give us some background for our trees, leaving that middle bit a little bit vacant, but not just a channel down there. Bring some of the colours out a little bit. Now some quinacridone gold deep. You all know that's one of my favourite colours, and just dropping that in while it's still wet. When I say dropping in, I'm just touching, just dabbling. We'll just let some of those background colours show through. And then we're going to just tilt the board, let it do a little bit of running and mixing and mingling on its own. And it'll continue to do that while it's wet, and it'll just diffuse itself. So we'll let that dry, and I won't bore you while it's drying. I'll cut you off and come back again in a little while. Welcome back, everyone. I've actually made a couple of these lovely backgrounds. There's one of them, and this is another. Hope you can see that in the video. It's got some lovely marks in the middle. And then I've got the one that I prepared for you earlier that I actually did some ink work on, but I forgot to press record, so I'm having to do it again. I will show you that one in a little while. So I've got some ink here and my ink stick that I showed you how to make. Got another one here that I may or may not use, a fine one. But the ink is mixed with water. It's about 2 parts water to 1 part ink, which is going to make it more transparent for the background trees that we're going to do. So here we go. What I'll do is I'll paint a little bit for you or draw a little bit, then I will fast forward and you can watch me do it a little bit quicker, and then I'll come back to you and show you the finished painting. So just dipping into the more transparent ink, and we're going to just do some trees. What I'm doing, I'm rotating a little bit in my fingers so that I get a line that is a little bit jagged, just to give it a little bit more texture. I do want these lines to be a little bit fatter, so I'm just going to go over it again. So you can see that I'm just working the main branches at this point. What I'll come back and do, I'll show you some now, but you'll see me doing it also as I make the video go a little bit faster for you. But I'm just going to put on some little twig-like marks along some of the branches, just to give me a little bit of a more realistic look. You'll also see me possibly doing a little bit of shading where the branches meet the trees, and also a little bit of texture here and there, so you might see me just adding a little bit of tone to some of the branches. So I will go a little bit quicker now for you so that you don't get too bored, and we'll just fly through it quickly, and then I'll stop the video and go slower again to show you how I finish off the painting. So now I'm going to use some full strength ink because I want the more forward trees to be much more opaque, and it'll bring them forward, whereas the ones in the background, you can see here, these are the ones that are the more transparent ink. I've done one here for you so that you can see the difference in tone. It's much blacker. So we'll go fast again for a little while and then I'll come back to you. branches. Now just to finish off, I just want to do a few things like put some birds in and then finish off some branches in another way. So we might start with putting some birds in. And I'm just using an O round for this process. You just need a little bit more control than what you get with an ink stick. So looking up some bird shapes. If you're not sure what shape they are, copy mine. It's just like a little oval with a circle on top and then a fan shape down the bottom. Now with the beak, you can either do that with an ink pen like a outline drawing system pen, something like this, or with the brush if your brush is fine enough. Sometimes I find it easier just to go with the pen, and I will be doing some pen work on here very soon. So we'll just put a couple of birds in this section here. So that's the oval, the fan shape for the tail, a circle for the head, and then like I said, if you wanted to use a pen, you can definitely go with a pen for the beak. So I'm just going to put some birds in the distance, which will be just that little bit smaller. Probably 3 is enough in this painting because it is quite a busy painting. The last thing I want to do is some pen work like I mentioned. I'll just put that brush away for a moment. So where you get some branches just finishing off like this one, you can just do some finer lines. And that one there, here. Just those blunt ends, just make them a little bit finer. You can even just put in some smaller branches if you wanted to. But it's a lovely easy painting for a beginner. Just remember the tone. We'll do some more transparent ones in the background and some stronger tone in the foreground. We'll just add a few leaves to the branches. Not too many, just a few. So I'm just going to use that little brush again, a little bit of paint, a little bit of ink on there. This is the full strength ink that I'm using. Just have a tissue handy. And we will just add. Don't try and draw actual leaves. It's just a little bit of dabbing and a little blot. And you don't need too much of it either. I think this is all that this painting needs. Just time to sign and then we're done. So here we are back again, and I just wanted to show you what these paintings look like once they have their mat around them. Remember, this is an 8x8 and it just fits beautifully inside the mat. It makes such a big difference when you mat something or when you pop it in a frame. If you want to have a look at one of my videos on to frame or not to frame, I think it's the previous video to this one, and you'll see what a big difference it can make. Just take that one out, and this is the one I did previously and forgot to video, done in exactly the same way. And a little bit more space in this one, which is really nice. So this is the background I actually did for you earlier, and you can see how I let the background dry. I did the transparent trees exactly the same way, just mix some water with your ink. And then I did the trees with full strength ink in the foreground, these two here. And of course the birds were full strength ink too. Did a bit of splattering on this one as well. So it just shows off some leaves. And a lot of fun to do. Not a hard one to do. If you don't have ink, you could definitely just use watercolour or even acrylic. Do it in the same way. Just mix some water with your paint or a little bit of white with the acrylics to fade it back, and then use stronger colours, more opaque colours in the foreground. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed watching, and I hope that you will do some birds in the treetops. You can definitely email me on i.recycle@yahoo.com if you have any paintings that you want to show me that you've done with this technique, or leave comments below if you have any questions or something nice to say. That would be nice. Anyway, hit subscribe for more videos, and I'll keep painting. Enjoy. Bye for now.